Wow, it's almost May already. Can you believe it, man? This year is just zipping by. And it's time to talk about some of those reading plans for May. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly TBR. This is going to be looking ahead to the month of May of the great year of 2023. This is going to be kind of a different one, guys, because I think this is going to be kind of one of the smaller TBRs in a while. And I don't mean smaller in page count, but in book total, because I got some chunk that has infected this list, and we're going to talk about that. Look, April was very ambitious. March was very ambitious. So, hey, with this month, I said, hey, what can I do to kind of slow things down? Hey, how about I take less books in? And then I start looking at the page count. I'm like, I think this might actually be more ambitious than you've been doing. But hey, this is the business that we have chosen, guys. So I'm going to take a look at the books here in case you don't know what I do now. Since I've started doing these monthly, is I'm going to talk about them in the order that I plan to read them. I'm going to kind of give a synopsis, light spoiler warning, because I am going to be reading basically the synopsis for some of these books, and some of them are sequels or things like that, or part of a series. I've went through and kind of combed through and felt like I've removed anything that is like what I would consider like a massive spoiler, but I like to mention it in case anyone feels like I am ruining their life. So I like to always make sure I bring that to your attention. So let's begin, guys. What we're going to start with on May the 1st, guys, we're going to be continuing with our Red Rising reread. This is going to be the last one in that before the brand new book that's coming out. This, of course, is going to be Dark Age, or as I like to call it, one of the nicest covers ever. This cover is so cool. If you guys don't know, this is like embossed. It's amazing. It's amazing cover. So with Dark Age, guys, I'm so excited to get to this because when I read this the first time, there was just so much happening in this book. I feel like I have forgotten more than I actually remembered about it. Now, I felt like with Iron and Gold, when I just did the reread, I feel like I remembered everything pretty well. This one, there was things I was talking with Ben and Aaron from Howlerpod, and we were talking about this after we went off the air one time, and I was like, I don't even remember that. So I'm very much, of all the ones that I wanted to reread, this was the one, because it was the one that I felt like I read so quick that and it's just so long that I thought maybe I just forgot a lot of key details. But I'm very excited because not only is this one really good in my memory, but also, guys, this one is the last one before I have a new Red Rising book in my hand for the first time in almost 4 years. I'm so excited to do it. But, guys, what do you want to know about Dark Age? You want to know what it's about? Let's go ahead and talk about what it's about. He broke the chains, and then he broke the world. A decade ago, Darrow led a revolution and laid the foundations for a new world. But now, he is an outlaw. Cast out of the very republic he founded, with half his fleet destroyed, he wages a rogue war on Mercury. Outnumbered and outgunned, is he still the hero who broke the chains? Or who become the very evil he fought to destroy? In his darkening shadow, a new hero rises. Lysander Alloon, the displaced heir to an old empire, has returned to bridge the divide between the golds of the rim and the core. And if united, their combined might may prove fatal to the fledgling republic. On Luna, the embattled sovereign of the republic, Virginia Augustus, fights to preserve her precious democracy and her exiled husband. But one may cost her the other. Abducted by the enemy agents, Pax Augustus must trust in a grey thief Ephraim for his salvation. And far across the void, Lyria makes a desperate bid for freedom with the help of two unlikely new allies. Fear dims the hopes of the rising as power is seized, lost, and reclaimed, and the world spins on and toward a new Dark Age. Guys, this is such a cool book. And this needs to be the book where people either absolutely just are, oh my God, this is one of the greatest series I've ever read, or they bounce. There's a high bounce factor with this book because it is the most darkest and grim of the entire series. Yes, Dark Age is more than just a clever name. It is very much a great defining feature of what this book entails. It's such an exciting read for me, guys. I can't wait to do it because even the parts that I thought I didn't really care for, I've thought about in hindsight. I said, I think I'm going to like it a little more this go round. But I can't wait to talk about it, guys, because like the synopsis kind of tells you there, it's one of those things where you kind of look up and be like, are we still the good guys? I think those are great themes that this series does explore in these sequel books, which I think that, yes, you should be reading. So what do I do after I read an 800-page book? I pick up an 850-page book, and I'm excited about this one, guys, because this has been on my reading bucket list for a long time. Now, I've made it no secret, I'm not really wild about reading Westerns. I love Western movies. I love them. But anytime I've tried to read a Western book, and I don't count Dark Tower, guys, because that goes so crazy, I wouldn't really call it, outside of the first book, I wouldn't really call it a Western. I'm finally, guys, going to dive into Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Now, this obviously is considered one of the greatest American novels of all time. One of the greatest books ever written. So many people I know, whether they are sci-fi fantasy fans or what, they've all, a lot of, not all of them, but a great number of them have said this is the best book they've ever read. I'm excited because from what I understand, it's one of the greatest character studies ever. And me being all about character, that just sounds great. So I know obviously you're going to be doing like a trail ride stuff. You're going to have a long time to kind of, get to know these characters and what they're doing with a book that's quite, look, this book is long. It's massive. And guys, the point is like 4-point font in there. So yeah, this is going to be an adventure. Now, I think I've told this story before, but just in case, and you haven't been here forever, go ahead and tell you this, is my wife has a first edition hardcover of this, and she wouldn't let me have it. That was a gift from her grandfather, who sadly passed away, and obviously it has great significance to her. So I said, hey, how about you let me present it on camera for the world to see? But that didn't fly with her, so I did get my own paperback copy. But she is going to be reading it with me for the first time here in this month of May, and I can't wait to do it, guys. I've been so excited for this for a long time. But if you are one of the few people on earth besides me who have not read it yet, what is Lonesome Dove about? Well, August McRae and Woodrow Call, now retired from the Texas Rangers, have settled in the border town of Lonesome Dove, running the Hat Creek Cattle Company. They're visited by their old friend Jake Spoon, who convinces Gus and Call to gather a herd of cattle and drive them north to Montana in order to start a cattle ranch in untouched territory. Gus is further motivated by a desire to see the love of his life, who now lives with her children and comatose horse trader husband in Nebraska. On the way to Montana, they travel through wild country full of thieves, murderers, and a lifetime's worth of unforgettable adventure. Now, with Lonesome Dove, guys, I've watched the miniseries. That's actually what put this back on my radar to read. Is I hadn't really thought about it for a long time, and I had that miniseries. I bought it on Blu-ray one time on Amazon. It was on sale for $5. I'm like, wow, yeah, I mean, everybody tells me that might be one of the greatest adaptations ever. I finally watched it a couple years ago, and I loved it. I was absolutely blown away by just how much I enjoyed it. People are like, that's nothing, man. If you really like that, you've got to read it. So I finally said, I'm going to do it. Now, as far as the rest of the books in the series, I'm undecided on that. I know I had this on my standalones, even though I know it is part of a 4-book series. For me, if it started as planned to be a standalone, which I do still believe it was, I treat it that way. But I leave it open to, hey, if I just love it so much and I want to see more of those characters, sure, I'll visit those other 3 books in that series. But we're just going to be starting with Lonesome Dove, and I cannot wait to do it, because if it's even a third as good as that miniseries is, that's great. And it's awesome to already have faces to go with all of the names in that book. And I know a lot of people on my Discord have read it over the course of the last year, and I don't think I've heard one person say it's anything short of amazing. So I'm incredibly enthused for this. I can't wait to do it. The fact that I have, someone who is an eyes-only reader like me. Like, here's the thing, guys. My wife, faster reader than me. Much faster. So I'm hoping I can get a head start on her. So I say that, we both read eyes only, but she basically reads an audiobook speed, I feel like, because she's always finishing books quicker than I do. But I'm excited to have, a reading buddy for me as I make that long road trip from Texas to Montana with Gus and Woodrow. I can't wait to finally do it. So after an 800-page book and an 850-page book, I might be needing a little palate cleanser, right? So I said, what can I throw in here to kind of just take the edge off a little bit, kind of switch genres up, make sure it's something maybe a little fast-paced. I looked at my standalone list that I said, or series that I wanted to start this year, and I went back to the Andrew Z. Thomas series by Blake Crouch. So I'm going to be starting with Desert Places. And Desert Places, I don't have a physical. I have bought the whole trilogy on the Kindle here. So this is a digital one that I only have. But the words are the same, right? But I'm excited to do it because, look, the last Blake Crouch I read was Run, and I loved it. I think the only Blake Crouch I've been even anything less than I've just loved it was for Abandon, and even that was still good. So I think that Blake Crouch is just the most, I don't want to say underrated, because the guy he sells a lot of books, But I'm going back to the earlier parts of his bibliography, thinking that the value or the quality was going to kind of decrease when you kind of do it reverse order like that. But I've had a great time going back and reading them this way, and it seems like they're even more just fast-paced, exciting thrillers, much more than he really has embraced the science in the Michael Crichton kind of ways lately. But with this one, it sounds a little crazy. Now, what is Desert Places about? Well, Andrew Z. Thomas is a successful writer of suspense thrillers, living the dream at his lake house in the Piedmont of North Carolina. One afternoon in late spring, he receives a bizarre letter that reads the following. Greetings. There is a body buried on your property, covered in your blood. The unfortunate young lady's name is Rita Jones. In her jeans pocket, you'll find a slip of paper with a phone number on it. Call that number. If I have not heard from you by 8 p.m., the police will receive an anonymous phone call, and I'll tell them where Rita Jones is buried on your property, how you killed her, and where the murder weapon can be found in your house. I do believe a parsing knife is missing from your kitchen. I strongly advise against going to the police, as I am always watching you. With his career, his sanity, and the lives of everyone he loves threatened, and a murderer designing his future, Andrew finds himself in the midst of the most suspenseful thriller of his life yet. So guys, again, just like when I read the synopsis for 1, that sounds so much more exciting than I was expecting. I can't wait. Again, Blake Crouch is he's batting like 900 for me right now, man. The guy just cannot miss right now. So I'm excited to continue with this bibliography. And this is the fact that this is a 3-book series, just reading book 1. I'm sure it's going to fly by. It's going to be exactly what I need after 2 chonkers like that. And then what am I going to follow that up with, guys? I'm going to follow up with another chonker. This one actually somehow, at least by page count, is longer than both Dark Age and Lonesome Dove. This, of course, is Of Darkness and Light by Ryan Cahill. If you know anything about his series, his books get longer and longer and longer. Book number 2 in the Bound and the Broken. I'm actually reading book number 1 right now, and it's a normal length. It's like 500 pages. This one's, I think, 912 pages, at least on my Kindle. I don't know on physical, but I believe that's how long it is on digital. So I'm excited about it because I am really liking book number 1, and everyone has told me that book number 2 is even better. But what is Of Darkness and Light about? Behind the towering walls of Beldoir, Caitlin Breyer and his companions stand in defense of the city and its new king. In over 1,000 years, Beldoir has never fallen. It has stood as a bastion of hope, but the Lorien Empire are at its walls once more, and the Dragon Guard are coming. In the north, Caitlin's sister Ella arrives at the port of Antiquar. She holds no fear of the unknown, and will see this through, no matter what or who gets in her way. Meanwhile, Rist Havel hones his newfound powers in preparation for the trials of faith and will. Unbeknownst to Rist, he is being watched, measured, and judged. He is not taken into the circle by chance. There is great is in him, but great men can do terrible things. As Lorien forces land on southern shores, and Aeson Verander's letters of rebellion find their way into the right hands, only the Knights of Acheron see the true danger. The danger that stirs in the darkness. The coming shadow will not stop. It will consume all in its path, and it wants for nothing but blood and fire. So I can't talk too much about this series, guys, because I'm sure if you haven't read anything, you just hear that synopsis right there and you're like, what? Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what it was like when I read The Fall. It was like, I have no idea who these people are. I have no idea what's going on, but oh my God, this is amazing. And I have a feeling that this series is just going to continue to be like that. So I'm excited, obviously, to continue with it. Like I said, I'm really enjoying reading book 1 right now and seeing some of these names and where they're going to be at. Is kind of maybe a semi-spoiler to myself, but if you've read traditional fantasy, guys, I think it's not really a secret where the book is headed when you're about 35%, I think, into the first book. You can kind of see where things are going, and I'm fine with that. But yeah, this is just exciting. I can't wait to see how we get to this point, and I'm excited to continue with that series. So, guys, I got to talk about now. Everything else has got to be if I have time the rest of the month. Now, like I said, Dark Age, 800 pages. Lonesome Dove, 850. Of Darkness and Light, over 900 pages. So I don't want to be able to say I can commit to anything else this month outside of what I already have planned. I think me and my kid are going to be continuing with the Heroes of Olympus. This is the Percy Jackson sequel series. This is the Son of Neptune. We're actually reading book 1 right now, The Lost Hero. But I imagine that we'll probably continue flying through that like we have been. They were a little bit longer than the Percy Jackson books were, but I would imagine that we'll probably at least be starting on Son of Neptune next month, which he just asked me what the name of the second book was, and I told him, and he kind of put together already, that means Percy's coming back. So he's really, really hyped about that, and it makes me happy to see that he's enjoying that series that much. The only other thing that could possibly fit onto the schedule this month would be if I have to rearrange things. And I'm going to tell you there is going to be a big fat asterisk on this TBR this month. If you guys don't know, there are advanced reader copies kind of floating around already for Lightbringer. That is Red Rising number 6. For whatever reason, even though I've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of copies of these books, I have not gotten approved yet, which is fine. It's fine. Like I always say, guys, I don't feel like I'm entitled to these things. I find it weird. I find it weird that I can't get approved for this, but hey, things can happen. The book doesn't come out until the end of July. I've still got time. And I need to reread Dark Age first anyway. So say I do get approved for Lightbringer sometime this month. As soon as I'm done with Dark Age, I'm starting that, guys, because I've been waiting 4 years for that book. And you better believe that that is skipping straight to the front of the line. But I do want to read Dark Age first. That's why I'm not super pissed off or something that I haven't gotten approved for a review copy. But yeah, I am very, very excited to do that. It would be the only thing, like I said, that derails these plans. But that's kind of the order that I have things planned for right now. I don't imagine, with I said, with 3 books that massive and the Blake Crouch one on the side, I don't imagine that I'm going to be able to read more than that in the month of May, just because the page count is outrageous. I mean, I think if I put this down to like word count, I'm pretty sure I'd be reading more than I did in March or April, which were very, very heavy months. But hey, again, this was fun for me, and I'm not going to stress over it. I'm just saying that it's always fun to plan, but it's you got to be realistic with some of these plans, I think. And I don't see myself finding enough time to read that. Because, again, guys, the thing, Lightbringer, 700 pages. So these are all going to be really, really long books this month, except for Rick Riordan and Blake Crouch, which are just normal in length. And even those Rick Riordan books are 500 pages. So there we go, guys. But that's going to be the plans for the month of May. I would love to hear what you guys are planning to read in the month of May. Are you going to read any of these with me? I'd love to have you. I know there are a lot of people who've started reading Battle of the Broken with me. And that's not like an official read-along or anything like that, because I don't even know if I'm going to be doing book number 3 of that in June or not. I have no idea yet. Believe it or not, I haven't thought that far ahead, because that book, guys, is like 1,500 pages, and I'm not joking. That's not hyperbole. It's really that long. So I'm just taking it easy for now. I know I usually plan so super far in advance, but as far as that one goes, I don't know when I plan to get to that. Everything's really just going to kind of depend on how I do with some of these other series that I've committed to reading along with. Now, I think that the Red Rising one is pretty much the last read-along that I'm a part of. I think I'm pretty much going to be done after that. So I'm finally going to be able to open it up to new things. I do have, Mark Lawrence's Book of the Ancestor on the horizon here pretty soon. I do got The Lot Lands by Jonathan French coming around the corner. I do got the Song of the Shattered Sands by Bradley P. I can't say his last name. So I've got lots of things on the horizon. But I don't have anything locked into a hard schedule as of this point. It's exciting because I do want to get back to Legend of Trist eventually. So guys, that's my month of May. What do you guys have? Drop in the comments. Let me know what you're going to be reading. I can't wait to talk to you, and I will talk to you there.